Those who have been to a ruined wedding, what happened? Leading up to my friend's wedding, his father had been battling cancer after a terminal diagnosis. And it was touch and go whether he would be well enough to attend the wedding. In the end, he was too unwell to attend despite wishing that he could. Just as we got to the wedding reception, my friend was informed that his father had just passed away. It was devastating. Oh wow. Let me see if I can get all the details in order. The actual wedding was fine, but the reception made national news. Underage brothers of the groom, who had been drinking for hours, get cut off by the bartender. Groom, also drinking for hours, gets belligerent and threatens bartender. Father of the bride and brother of the bride, who are both cops, threaten groom, who gets pissed and leaves, presumably to the wedding night hotel. Mother of the bride storms up to grandmother of the groom, finger wagging in her face, screaming, "Your grandson is ruining my daughter's big day." Mother of the groom, who is someone you do not want to mess with, sees this from across the room and attacks mother of the bride. We personally saw all of this happen as we were seated at the same table as grandmother of the groom. Somehow, in what seemed like seconds, all hell breaks loose and a tussling mob like a rugby scrum starts brawling. This is the point. When my husband grabs my hand and says we gotta go. We run out, get in the car, and as we are driving up the long driveway leading from the venue, what had to be 20 cop cars, lights and sirens, go speeding down the entrance. We just looked at each other in total shock. But about halfway home we started laughing in a "can you believe this" way. Proof. https www.bostonherald.com/2012/03/wedding-bash-ends-in-cuffs/. When I was 6 or 7, I went to a cousin's wedding. Everything was fabulous for little me. So much sugar everywhere. Basically heaven. The reception was in a big community center that was reserved for the occasion. Went to the girls' bathroom. Passing by the men's room to see my uncle on the floor. Went back to the main room to tell my dad my uncle was looking weird. Well, uncle had a stroke and had died. The bride spent the rest of the afternoon crying. And everyone except close family left. Bright side is the mariage is still going strong 20 years later. Despite what happened that day. I used to do catering work. And this one time my boss sent me to a remote location in the woods on a beautiful river. I found out while we were loading the truck that the boss wouldn't be going and that I was essentially in charge. My boss promised that everything was taken care of, set up, etc. So, you can imagine my surprise when I arrived to this remote location and literally nothing was set up. We were only about an hour early, so I frantically started trying to get the tent in order. We needed extension cords to run the coffee and tea, there were none. We needed tables to set up the food, there were none. I somehow whipped up impromptu everything for the missing things. And just as the bride and groom are arriving, we blow the fuse for our only power source and the place is plunged into darkness. We reset the breaker. I move some stuff around. Blow the fuse again. This delicate dance went on for the entire evening. Through speeches. First dance. The works. I think the worst part of the entire experience was when we went to rinse our dishes before boxing them up and found out that when we blew the fuses the water pump for the place stopped working and needed to be primed again. At that point I said forget about it. We'll take them back dirty, and the crew and I spent several more hours after the long ride home doing them. That was the day I worked a 15-hour shift without a break and still ruined the wedding. Needless to say, I quit that job. No one turned up to the reception except myself and partner. There was about 8 people in total and the couple had went all out for the reception. Awkward. I've catered many weddings, and there have been some memorable ones. Fights between guests. Wedding cakes falling over. Red wine spilt on wedding dresses. The lot. The one I'll never forget, an all-day do. Small ceremony. A few close friends and family. And a big reception filled with a huge buffet. Every type of food you could imagine and a free bar. All in the same venue. They had booked and paid for 250 evening guests. But 30 guests turned up. At most my heart broke for this couple. A massive beautiful converted barn. Loads of food and drinks. Great music, but no guests. At about 10 p.m. The venue was licensed until 11 p.m. The buffet food had barely been touched. The few who were there ate, but it hardly made a dent as it was planned for so many more people. I asked the mother of the bride if she wanted me to cover and refrigerate the untouched food so the new couple could take it home, and her response of, "Oh no. There are still a lot of people coming," was the most awkward I've ever felt in my life. No more guests showed. There was a flash of car headlights in the distance about 10:30 p.m. and the bride beamed when she thought it was late comers arriving. But no. It was just taxis arriving to pick up the few who were there. It's the only event I have ever done where we didn't have to kick people out of the venue. At 11 p.m. the place was empty. I'm a nutshell. Bride's parents paid for the day and the happy couple had zero control over their guest list. Her parents invited all their friends to the evening function, but in reality, it was just associates they wanted to flex on, resulting in no one giving a shit about an invite to a wedding where they didn't know the bride or groom. It was basically just a networking event for the bride's parents. What is a fact about the human body that not many people know about? When doing surgery where the doctors have to take out some organs. When placing them back, they don't have to be put back in the exact position they're meant to be. Your body kind of just moves the organs into the correct position after the surgery. The eyeball is the fastest healing part on your body. The hyoid bone is a bone not attached to any other bones in the human body and is only considered the anchor of the tongue. There are tiny cilia that spin in a certain direction. If they spin in the opposite direction while you're developing in the womb early on, that is how you get organs transposed onto the opposite side of your body. Pregnant women have 50% extra blood. There's a right and a wrong way to swallow, and the first swallow pattern you learn isn't the right one. Babies swallow by pushing their whole tongue forward, since it's better for nursing. However, as you transition to solid foods, you are supposed to change to a swallow where you put the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth and roll the food back. Not everyone does, and those that don't are more likely to choke, eat too fast, develop dental problems, and some develop a lisp or distorted sounds as they learn to talk. People who discovered their passion at a later stage of life. What is it and how did you figure it out? Late 40s here. Got a book called Learn to Draw in 30 Days about 4 years ago. Then about 3 years ago I heard about the 100 Day Challenge, where the goal is to create art every day for 100 days. I never stopped and made it a goal to hit 1,000 days. In that time, I won contests, got about 200 commissions, raised over $5,000 for a charity, and had a great time. When I hit the 1,000 days back in December, I decided to go back to college and get an art degree. I signed up for classes and talked with my manager at work to see how much they would pay for college. She was excited that I was going to get a business degree and said she'd work on getting all of the classes covered. Free college became too tempting to pass up, so now I'm planning on getting the business degree and then on to law school because they'll pay for that too. I just finished my first semester with a 4.0 and I'm on day 1136 of my non-stop painting journey. Law. I was 45 when I went back to school. I'd worked blue-collar jobs all my life. Was a high school dropout. My daughter started taking paralegal classes and I thought I could do that. So I got my GED and signed up for a 2-year paralegal certificate program through the local community college. Fell in love with law. Also discovered I was good at it. I had several professors who were lawyers tell me I'd be wasted as a paralegal and should go to law school. So I transferred to a 4-year school. Worked full-time through undergrad and graduated with honors. Got into law school. I graduated law school at 55. Oldest in my class. But I'd gone from being a high school dropout to a lawyer in just 10 years. Passed the California bar first try and I've been a public defender ever since. Which is the only thing I ever wanted to do with it. I'm 60 now, but I'm healthy and energetic and have a lot of years left. I love what I do. I'm very good at it. And it's the best move I ever made. Maybe discovering doesn't fit entirely. But discovering how much I love it actually is a better fit. Photography. I always liked it and the results were nice. But rarely perfect. As a Redditor coined it, you have a great eye. But you lack a bit of the basics, mentioning I had done a great choice of the subject and image composition. But made small errors which kept it a good, not a great picture. Last year, given the lack of travel opportunity, I decided to finally take lessons from scratch. Starting with any so small basic lesson like which end is for what at the camera to fight the errors and mistakes I had made so far. And I'm very pleased with the results. In turn, I love it more than ever. My dad discovered his life's biggest passion at 67. Mountain climbing. Serious mountaineering. He climbed Kilimanjaro and Whitney just months apart. Was 39 when I took a temp job in a social services type industry. Just basic stuff. Realized after a couple of years that I'd circled back to my idealistic 17-yo self's plan for my career. Spent the previous 20 working shit jobs I hated. Turns out it's really important to do something that aligns with your values. Finish the week feeling like I've contributed to society. Rather than working to screw people for money. I started roller skating. On ramps. Just before I turned 40. It's never too late to start. You just need more safety gear. I've been doing it for years now. I'm in my mid-40s and still rollin'. It makes me a bit sad I didn't start when I was younger. But I reckon I've got another 10 years left in me.
Subscribe, my brothers.